So a little less than 2 years ago, before we moved from our old house to this one, when I was doing videos down in the shop, I had a mounting bracket that I installed on my workbench, the workbench that I built, so that I could take videos of what was happening on my workbench with my DSLR. And that was great for getting little fine detail shots and things like that, and getting some actually kind of decent audio when I was speaking more or less directly into the condenser mic on the camera. Now we moved and there was absolutely no way of getting that monstrous workbench out of the house with us, so we left it behind. And I've been missing it a little bit ever since. And one of the things that I've been missing was the fact that I could drill a hole into it and then put a threaded screw into it and then screw my camera on it. Anyway, I don't really have the option because this Mastercraft workbench that I'm working on right now it's not wood. I can't just drill into it, really. However, the top surface of it is wood, or like some kind of particle board thingy, so I can actually drive a couple of screws into it. Just have to be careful not to drive it in too far. So I decided it is high time that I mount my camera to the workbench again, and to that end, I did this. Ta-da! This is a project that had a number of steps. First, I grabbed my calipers and I measured the heck out of the quick release plate that my camera is currently sitting on the tripod. Once I had all of those measurements, I kind of guesstimated at how thick I wanted all of the load-bearing structures to be. So I had this basic idea that gravity would be enough to lock the quick release plate into place. So I just went with that. After I got all the numbers figured out, I hopped onto the computer and I started modeling it in Fusion 360. Started with a basic rectangle with the overall dimensions in, extruded up a rectangular prism, and then bit by bit created construction lines and then actual lines and cut into it all of the different shapes that I needed to make it the object that I sketched out. This is not a super elaborate build, it's not a super elaborate design, so I knocked it out pretty quickly and I gotta say I was pretty pleased with it. I will say this is not a Fusion 360 tutorial, but it was really important for me to use construction lines with this, which is something that I only discovered existed fairly recently. And construction lines make your sketches in Fusion so much cleaner. Once I had the model finished, I brought it into Repetier, which is what I'm using to do all of my slicing and some of my printing. And using Cura Engine within Repetier, I sliced it and saved it for an SD card print. The object itself I printed at 0.2mm layer height in Monoprice Clear PLA. Why clear? I don't know. I like the look of it. It's shiny. Once I got off the print bed, I crossed my fingers that the support material would come off easily, and fortunately it did. My printer is a little bit notorious for having poor bridging and supports, but I've made a couple of mods to it recently and it turned out really well, so I'm very happy that the modifications I've been making to the printer are actually paying off. I made sure that things fit. Dimensional accuracy has been a bit of a problem for me lately, so I wanted to make sure that my calibration is good, and it turns out that everything fit just the way I expected it to. I did a quick test of its ability to bear a load. Nothing more simple than putting the camera in and out of it and trying to see if it was going to split or if the layers would delaminate or any of that stuff. And it seemed good. Once I was fairly confident that it would actually do what I wanted it to do, I screwed it into the wood on top of the workbench and gave it a shot. And there we have it, my new workbench camera mount. It's not breaking, it looks solid, it feels solid, it seems like it's holding everything in place the way I want it to. So I'm really happy with this make. It's a very simple design, but it turned out really well. If you are interested in grabbing this very simple file for yourself, it's on Thingiverse, and the link is in the description below. I learned a lot doing this project. I learned some new things about Fusion. I learned some new things about my printer. I learned new things about what my printer is capable of. And I'm also delighted to have my camera mounted properly to my workbench again. This is great. Hey, if you liked this video, please give it a like. If you're new here, hit subscribe and you'll get a video every time we make something new. Hey, thank you very much for watching. I'm Trevor. This is Love Make Share. Until next time, I hope you've been inspired. Go make a thing.